Warning, F-bombs are armed and may be dropped. All right, some people either do not understand guns or the entertainment industry or both. The incident in Arizona involved a, quote, cowboy gun. Well, that's not a technical definition, but probably refers to a black powder revolver. Now, this is not the same model. I believe this is a Walker, Navy Walker. The functionalities are the same. For the purposes of this video, I have already removed the safety pin, which would go right here and just keeps the gun assembled. I'm having a little bit of trouble, as you can see. Okay, set that off to the side. The way a black powder revolver is loaded, you put the powder and the shot here, reinsert the barrel, and then ram them home, one at a time. So far, so good. Okay. And on this one, obviously, you would put the pin back in before you started ramming home. But anyway, at that point, you would put your caps, yep, onto these nipples. I'm going to get it up. You know what? I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and break it down. See these little tubes sticking out the back of the gun? Those are called nipples, and that's what your caps go on. So far, so good? Okay. I do apologize. I don't have a whole lot of experience with this gun, or this type of gun. But anyway. All right. Actually, I want to show you something else first. You would not be able to really tell the gun is actually loaded or not just by looking down it. What you would see is either wadding or wax or something else. It's actually very hard to tell if there's rounds, an actual shot in the chamber, unless you really know what you're looking at. And even I don't really know what I'm looking at. A black powder revolver loaded with blanks could be mistaken for a real black powder revolver could be mistaken for an unloaded revolver. Or blank loaded, excuse me. I think part of the problem is coming from the fact that some people are confusing this. This is a modern 38, and without flagging myself too much, obviously you can tell a little bit more about whether the gun is loaded. And you can unload it much more easily. This is Papa Carey's gun, so at any rate, this you could tell a whole lot more, much more quickly. And you could also check and clear it very easily. That you actually have to clear without discharging using a worm. That's a special tool. Basically, it's a screw on a little bit more of a pole. You screw into the shot and you yank it out, and the powder should fall after. Right. I've also heard it said that you can tell the difference between a blank and a real live round by looking at the size. Well, This is a 38 revolver. Funny thing, I went and told Papa Carey, because these are both of his guns, I had to ask him before I used them. Um, I repeated that line to him without comment, and he gave me this very strange look. It was exactly this look. Like, that was the stupidest thing he thought he'd ever heard come out of my mouth. Then I told him where it came from, and he just he gave me his shit-eating grin and said, "Go on and get him." It's because a 38 round can look like a blank. If you don't know the difference between, or if you're not sufficiently familiar with 38s, they can look like uh, li- uh, a 38 wad cutter, or basically any wad cutter, could look like a live round, and a live round, excuse me, any wad cutter could look like a blank. Also, if you're not sufficiently familiar, you may not understand the difference between the two. There's another detail that came up. On a movie set, or any entertainment industry, there are three people involved in the firearm. Typically, the props master, who owns the gun or is responsible for it, the armorer, who's also responsible for it, but a different kind of responsible, and the talent. Let's just say talent. Um, Prop master brings the gun, the armorer brings the ammo, or vice versa. Whoever brings the ammo hands it over to the one that brought the gun, and then stands there and watches while the gun is loaded. From that point on, only the person who is the talent is supposed to ever touch this gun again. Now, if it's supposed to go through two or three different talents, like the first guy draws the gun, second guy shoots him, takes his gun, third guy shoots him, takes his gun, on and on. That's what the script calls for. That's the way it's going to work. But nobody else messes with the ammo until that gun is declared safe and clear. Show Safe and Clear is actually a YouTube channel I don't follow because I haven't caught up with him yet. But anyway, to show safe and clear, and I learned this the hard way when I was at the port security unit. You open it up and you turn it in a direction so that the armorer can see the weapon and see that it's clear. On an AR-15 or an M16, like I might have been turning in at the time, you remove the mag and you lock the bolt open. In that order, not the other. Guess who did push-ups for that mistake? On a revolver like this one, a modern revolver, you would open it up and you might push the ejector if it has one. If it doesn't, you just show it, right? Show it as best as you can. Even with this poor lighting and bad angle, you can see a little bit of light coming down the cylinders. This weapon is clear. On this one, you would actually open it up and hold the cylinder. Just hold it in your hand. Show safe and clear. Uh, excuse me. Make safe and show clear. That's the channel's name. Either way, the observations that the shooter in Arizona is responsible because he should have checked the weapon. No, he's not allowed to. That is a specific violation of the safety rules. If he takes this apart His fault, their fault, nobody's fault at all, right? Takes the gun out and he checks and makes sure that it's clear, and it's not, or maybe it is, and he messes it up. That's entirely on him. That's the reason why the entertainment industry, you're not allowed to check your weapon. Now, it's as it stands right now, it's still a very unfortunate accident, and there's a million things that could have happened. I was reminded today that Brandon Lee was killed in an on-set accident when a wad, which is normal for the industry, in a squib because it was extremely close range, uh, penetrated his jacket. I believe it was jacket. That's unfortunate. That's tragic. It really is. But it's not a conspiracy. There was never even an attempt by the talent that had that gun that day to say it was not mine. He owned it, and apparently he's one of the ones that called cut. Um, Apparently he saw something that he didn't like. Accidents like that one are the reason why the talent does not check the gun. Now, in that particular case, talent had nothing to do with it. It was just one of those 1 in 1 million accidents that do happen. Um, Alex right now is literally living a nightmare of reliving this accident in his head a million times. This is not on him. This is at no level on him. This is at every level on somebody or something. But until you can show me otherwise, until you're ready to drag somebody into court and say you are a murderer, this is still just one of those very unfortunate accidents. Even under Dadislav, accidents will happen. There will always be accidents with guns, with knives, with jackhammers. All right. People will still fall off of ladders, and people will still cut themselves and rather severely with knives. Fun fact, the people most likely to have an accident with a knife, cooks and chefs. Why? Because they're using knives all day. That's just a random fact. There's also another comment that's coming along that there should not have been any live ammo on set. Well, actually, yes. There are times when the script or the situation does call for live ammo. Those are very, very carefully coordinated stunts. They are coordinated down to the quarter of an inch. There's actually an informal rule in the gun industry that the camera has to be at not less than 95, well, 5 degrees past, uh, even with the muzzle and behind it. The chances of an accident with that particular uh, gun blowing something back onto the camera are greatly diminished. Most people don't realize this. The scene in Hunt for Red October, in which Jack shoots the cook, who's actually a GRU officer, agent, whatever, those were live rounds. And it was not at the 95-degree angle past the muzzle. It was more like about 35, 45 degrees before the muzzle. That's because that was shot by setting the camera here, putting the cameraman basically over Alex's shoulder, out of the shot, but at the right angle, at the correct angle for the shot. In the movie Aliens, there was also some live rounds used. The I can't even begin to remember what it was called in the film, but it was an MG-42 that had been modified with motorcycle parts and a Steadicam rig. You know the one I'm talking about. There was one shot from behind where they used live rounds. There was no accidents on that set either, and there was a lot of blue screen or some shit like that. And I'm not sure if that shot got used or not because I never really saw that angle. But I'm also talking about a film I saw 30 years ago. It does happen, and there will be accidents. All we can do now is find out what happened, find out if somebody actually did screw up, in which case hold them accountable, and move on. There is no malice that I can find in this. The possibility that the weapons master, the armorer, and the prop master all screwed up at the exact same time. By the way, there's no rule that says two people can't observe. The rule only says at least one person has to observe. Important detail. The idea that all three of them screwed up at the exact same time is a lot more plausible than the theory that two of them just happened to think, hey, let's put real bullets into the gun, let's put real shot into the gun, and then Alec will go during one of the shoots or one of the rehearsals or something and just happen to shoot the right person. That's a theory that is so implausible. I would 9/11 shitpost before I believe that. Keep calm and mandatory carry on.